Tanya Chef Teas. I'm gonna show you what's going on in the garden. If you saw the short that I did earlier, you saw that I had to pull the peppers out from whatever fungus it had going on there. But I have some in hydroponics that I'm waiting till they get a little bit bigger before I put them in this spot. But if you hadn't also noticed, I took the straw out of just about every bed and put these wood chips in here because that straw was creating so many weeds. And when I went into the 4x2 bed, there were so many roots in there before I had even planted anything that I just decided I didn't want to deal with it. So I switched them out. But this is what is going on with the cucumbers, and I still have Lycium, and these are the cilantro that I let go to flower, and more Lycium over here, and this is the dill, and you've got the little flowers on there growing. So I figure I'm going to leave them here for a little while and see what happens. But in the middle, this cucumber is the lemon cucumber. I've already taken one off, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, and I've got another one here. These look like they did not get pollinated, so wait for some more to come up over here. These are the burpless cucumbers on this side, and on this side is the salad slicer. I have a few flowers growing over there, and we're going to come this way. This is my okra. I've got some, let's see, what are these? Gold Rush bush beans in here. And this is the one ball squash. Got a couple growing in there. These are the Queenie Lime Red zinnias. You see my nasturtiums. I have some flowers on them, but they look pretty pitiful, so I'm going to have to do some pruning on there. I had to replant my pole beans here. I had Kentucky Winter first, but I decided I'm going to do the Ideal Market on this one. I also I restarted my soybeans in here. I'm waiting for those to germinate. This is my lavender, and in here I've got a round zucchini that I started, and this is a marigold in the front, and it's coming along. I don't have any flowers or anything on there yet. And this is my butterfly pea, which is finally starting to trellis up. Let's go over to the flower bed real quick. If you can see I believe those are cosmos over there, and I do have some flowers in here. I've got some sunflowers finally coming up in the back. Celosia's still looking kind of crappy, but I do have some new coming up on here. The zinnias are finally coming out. I do not know what this is, but I have been spraying it with the peroxide water solution, and the new leaves that are coming up are looking good. But you see all of the zinnias coming. This is I believe, Dichondra, another nasturtium. My rose bush is not doing much of anything. You can see more sunflowers. I've got another few with heads popping up here, and more of the zinnias on this side. And this is one of my roselle plants, which is growing a lot slower in this flower bed than the one that I have separate in a grow bag, and I'll show you that one in a minute. I think that if you see all of this was a tree that we kind of cut down at the end of March, I believe, and that would has regrown already. And then you've got this in the back, and I think this is just full of roots that are pretty much just, I believe, taking a lot of the nutrition out of this bed, but we'll come back to that and just keep checking on it. I might have to like till everything over here and just start all over next year and see what happens. Mint, this is the regular spearmint, and then over there is the chocolate mint, and I've got eucalyptus over here and the rosemary there, which I did move up because I did have them on the ground, but they were not doing as well because, for one, it was partially shaded, so I brought them up a little bit higher, and I also brought the mint up off the ground and put it on the cinder block. In this bed, I'm going to show on this side because you can actually see the eggplant growing right here. That's one of the white eggplants, and next to it is a purple, and I'll show that in just a second. As you see again, these are my tomatoes. I will not be putting the indeterminate tomatoes this close again ever because it's getting really out of hand over here. I do have some more alyssum in the front, marigolds. I moved the poblano pepper up so it could get some more sunlight, and it is doing a lot better. You can see all these tomatoes I have on here, and I am going to have to do some pruning because some of these leaves look really, really bad. But this is I believe this little cluster is the genuine beefsteak, and the ones over here are the Cherokee purple. But like I said, that's getting so out of hand. The Super Sweet 100 and the Sun Sugar are all the way over here going across the slicers. Over here is my zucchini, which is finally doing a little bit better. I think it was just really needed some heat because it just was not warm enough. But I've already cut 2 zucchinis off here. I've got another male flower, but right now I am not seeing any female flowers. This is the Sunburst, which is like Petty Pan, and I've got a male, and there's a little female down here, but it's not big enough, or the flower's not open to do anything with. These are the mustards that I let go to seed, and you see all of the flowers all the way over here. The eggplant, which you can see the white eggplant on this side, and this is the purple one, and this is the second eggplant off of this one. I had put some okra in here when I first started, and as you can see, they're still alive, they're just not growing. And after I pulled the beans and the radishes out, you see that beetle? I pulled the beans and the radishes out of here and thinking it would give it some more light, and it did give it more light, but now the eggplant leaves are covering it up. I replanted some bush beans in this one, and the roly-polies and slugs and snails are so bad over here. I got this idea from Growing Out Box. He was using like a yogurt cup from Dollar Tree, and I could not find those anywhere. So I got the little, I believe they're 8-ounce water bottles, and cut the holes in there. And as you can, if you can see that, it's a little foggy, but I already have some in there. I need to take it out, drain it, and see what's at the bottom. More nasturtiums and marigolds over here. This is parsley and oregano. And when I put the oregano over here, I did not remember that I had planted oregano over here. So I have more oregano here. These are parsnips. This is dinosaur kale. which is a pretty good spot for it, I guess, because it does get mostly shaded over here. Cilantro that I let go to seed, which is crazy. Those are the Romas on this side. This is the Lemon Boy here. I took one off already off the Lemon Boy, and this is the San Marzano, which I have several clusters on here. And I took a San Marzano off of here yesterday. Look at that cluster. Go back to here. I did put a hummingbird feeder over on this side. The celosia over here is looking a little bit better, except for this pink one right here and this red one. But you show you the flowers over here a little bit close up. But this side is doing a lot better than the other side. Right here is where I planted the borage, which is growing very slowly in this bed. And I planted a, direct sowed the ground cherry in this one. And it's also growing really slow over here. It's just you see the roots over here. I think the roots are just sapping a lot of the nutrients and energy out of this bed. So I'm not expecting much out of these, but I have planted some more, and I'll show you those in a second. But I really wanted the borage and the ground tree over here because I wanted them to kind of self-seed themselves so they could grow back every year. I put 2 sunflowers here and 2 sunflowers here that can grow against this fence to help with pollination. And over here, this is the calendula. Calendula is still hanging on. Oh, look, I have a Roma that's blushing over here. I had some onion sets, so I just put those in there. Not expecting much from them. If they do anything but help deter pests, I'm fine with that. I had this lemongrass in the green stock, and as you can see, it is huge already. I've only had it a month. So I transplanted it into its own pot. I think I want to put like a paver underneath it, so I will go back, and when I can find one that's not too expensive, I will do that. And I transplanted the jalapenos out of the bed from in front of the tomatoes. They are doing much better over here. This one has some peppers on it. I've already cut some off. When I was dealing with the fungus and stuff from before, I sprayed like neem oil on here, and as you can see, I burned some of the leaves on a lot of my plants. I'll show you the burnt leaves on my watermelon too in a minute. Here is the sweet potatoes, which are still looking pretty good. I had to put some slug repellent in here because the slugs were bad over here too. Put some fungicide on there also because I was having a little bit of issue, but it's looking a lot better than it had been looking. Over here is the transplanted out of the tomato bed. Also the serrano on this side, which I've already had several peppers off of this one. And this is my cayenne, and I am finally getting something off of here. This is my other roselle, which is doing a lot better than the one in the flower bed. Okay, this is my raised bed number 2. The beans that I had originally planted in here also got the rust really bad, so I pulled up the ones that I could not save and I will show you what I had left. The new growth on there is looking good because I was able to treat these early enough. And once it grows a little bit more, I will cut those off. And I did plant 3 more pink eye, which is what these were in the front. So kind of like succession showing on there. This is another pink eye over here. I've saved this spot. This is where I had the rattlesnake pole beans, which I had to pull, but I have an order from Jera's coming in for some yard-long beans, and I'm gonna put those there. I resowed the pinto here. I had two that I was able to save, so I kept that one, and then I have that there. This is my bait alpha, and these freaking this and the stink bugs have been getting this cucumber real bad, so I've got some kaolin clay on the way, and I'm going to spray this. I've already cut 4 cucumbers off of here. This one, you can see the stink bugs has gotten to that and sucking the juice out of it. So I'm hoping I can get to this before. This one was, I don't have the date on there. I don't remember when I planted this. Sometime last month I direct sowed that. But you can see the beetles have been getting at this, so I want to spray this to keep that one alive. This one is the Hawaiian African marigold here. This is the Jolly Jester marigold, and you can see I have a bud right here already going. This is one of the borages that I started. You see how much further along this was, and I just planted this. Well, this one was from May 23rd, and that one is doing so much better than the one that was in the flower bed. Now, on the back side, this is my pineapple tomato, which the rust that was growing on the beans transferred onto here, so the bottom leaves have the rust on there, but I was able to save it so far. It looks okay, and the new growth is looking so much better, and I'm going to wait, possibly cut those off once this grows a little bit more. I've got some Genovese basil over here, which I need to top. I have 3 of those here, and I need to top all of these. This is a French marigold over here. I also have another French marigold over there in between the tomatillos. And as you can see, this one already has a flower on it. Now we'll go to bed number 1. Had an ant problem over here, so I put some 7 in here to kill them. This is my cucamelon, finally getting big enough to grab onto the wire. And we'll see what happens with this. This is the butternut squash. This is also a dwarf French marigold in the middle, and this is the spot where I'm putting the black cherry tomato, which is almost ready to come out from inside. This is the Armenian cucumber. Now I've gotten some of my peppers in this bed already, the new ones. This is another serrano. This is lemon drop. This is the space for the Marconi red. And then I've got another shishito over here. On this side is another sugar baby watermelon. The new growth on this vine is looking so much better. This is also a Hawaiian African marigold. I direct sowed This is the Orangello watermelon. I planted some seeds in here, and when I was switching out the straw, I snapped it, so I had to direct sow another seed in here. And this one is another Jolly Jester marigold, and this is the honeydew melon, which looks kind of crappy, so I might pull this. No, it's not a might. I'm going to pull this and direct sow another seed in this place. And right now I have this here for the watermelon vines to grow, but I'm going to have to put some more because that Orangello is going to get pretty big, and I want to try to keep them off the grass. Now, I'm going to go on this side. This is another borage that I planted, and I put this here because I have the watermelon plant in the front, and then I pulled the diva out of here, and I direct sowed another sunburst squash in here. So I wanted to have the borage here to help with pollination. And this is my other ground cherries. Now this one has the fabric underneath it because I do not want this one to self-seed for next season over here. When I was over here by the pepper plants, I forgot to do an update on this diva. Now the diva is on its last leg, and my plan yesterday was to go ahead and pull this today after I do this video, is I've already direct seeded some Richmond green apple cucumber in this corner. So I'm going to pull this up so it will have space to grow. But this one just doesn't seem to want to give up because it keeps wanting to add more, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it because it is time. This is my green stock. It is looking very full of stuff. Now, this right here in the front, this is supposed to be a space saver cucumber. This thing has only been in here, let me come around here. This is May 2nd, and it is already going on 3 tiers high. I was hoping this was going to be compact, but it is not. Anyway, this is my zinca, which looks really pretty in here. I've got some more basil. This one is the Genovese basil. I've got more zinnias. These are supposed to be dwarf, but you can see these are just about as tall as the ones that were put in the flower bed. This is the Tiny Tim tomato in here. These were direct seeded in here, and this was direct seeded May 2nd when I put the green stock together, and you see how that one's doing. That one is looking pretty. This is the opal basil, golden beets, which I'm not expecting to do much, but we'll see what happens. This is lemon basil in here. Trying to protect that. That's why I still have the cover on it. I'll probably remove it pretty soon. This is thyme. Got some more dill going. I know it's not going to last very long, but I wanted to give it a shot. I have a watering system hooked up finally to the green stock, but this is my coleus growing over there. Over here is the dark green parsley, lemon balm. These are some more French double marigolds, dwarf Siberian kale, which is not looking too good at the bottom, but the new growth is looking pretty good. Let's see. I've got some nasturtiums in here, but they're covered up by this cucumber. More zinnias down there. Thai basil in this one. And this one is daikon radish, which I was trying to give a shot, but if you can see all of those, that greenery is just from that daikon. There's 3 in there, and I think I'm going to have to pull it because it is blocking the sun from my orange hat tomato. This is dwarf petunias, and over here is more zinnias. And over here I've got dwarf polka dot bachelor button. And if you can see, also being covered by the daikon radish leaves, this is the Tokyo long white onion. Got some growing in there. Oh, we'll put that on there later. This is the catnip, which is growing pretty good in there, and some more coleus over here. This space is empty right now, keeping it watered and covered because this is where I'm going to put the Rosita eggplant, which I have going in the hydroponics. This is the strawberries that I grew from seed. There's another strawberry that I grew from seed, which, as you can see, covered up by this cucumber. Now we're gonna move over here to the Vago tomato trellis, which has my sugar baby watermelon in it. Sorry for the chickens the neighbor has over there. Rooster is just making all kinds of noise. As you can see on here, when I was talking, I sprayed the neem oil on there and burnt my leaves. But this is my watermelons. Got 4 in bags over here, looking pretty good. They're all about the size of my hand at this point. That one's a little bit smaller because it was one of the last ones. I've got a marigold in there, which looks kind of bad. And this second vine, which is a different plant, has a little baby growing on that one, so I'm gonna trellis this up and then probably bag this if that lives. And this is the front side of where I pulled the second diva out of, and I direct sowed some of the sunburst hybrid squash there, and I put it right next to the stake so I can trellis it up. This marigold looks a little bad. And here's my pineapple, still hanging on. And my covered raised bed will start in the corner. This is what the straw flower is looking like right now. I've got the garlic chives over here, and this is toothache plant. Right here is the broadleaf sage, which I have yet to transfer out of here. My feverfew. And I figured out the kind of lone feverfew over here. I don't know how they got over there instead of back there with the rest of them. This is the German chamomile in the corner. I planted rosemary here, and I finally have 2 little pop up right there. I still haven't put anything in this corner yet. I'm still trying to decide what I want. I think I'm going to put, I have some echinacea in the hydroponics, and I think that's what I'm going to put here. Now, underneath, I got some zinnia plugs from Haas that came with the subscription box that I just ordered. Now, these over here are looking better than they did when I got them, and these are not. We'll see what happens. I don't plan on keeping them all in this container because it's not big enough, but I did have to plant the plugs into something so they could not dry out and die. So I put them in here, and I have them underneath so they can get shade until they kind of acclimate a little bit. So that's what that is. That pot is empty at the moment. It is ready for where I'm going to put my moringa in after I get that started, which I haven't yet. Greenhouse is absolutely empty except for one plant that I got from my neighbor, and I'm going to put that in a hanging basket for the front porch. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. On this side, this is my Swiss chard, pink Swiss chard. Now, I don't know what this was when it first came out, but it had pink dots all over it. I think I showed it in the other video, and I've started to cut them off. The new leaves that have come in look a lot better, and I'm cutting off the old ones as they do grow. And I did direct sow a couple more seeds on this side. This is what my turmeric plant is looking like. I have not taken the straw out of here yet. This is one of my gingers bags. You can see how big that is. And this is my other ginger. These look horrible. I'm hoping that my neighbor will come over and help me with these. She gave me these, and I know nothing about no roses, so I'm hoping she'll help me with this. These are the potatoes that I put over here because I am about ready to pull those, which I will probably do today and do that in a separate video. We'll see what we have in there. I'm tired of looking at them. I know they're not completely died back, but I'm really tired of looking at them. The only thing I have left are my quarantined plants. These are I kept separate because this is one of the other ones, and I don't even know how these got infected because these were in the greenhouse. But I cut some of the leaves off of here, but I had to obviously leave something on here to continue growing. The new growth is looking a little bit better. I'm waiting to see whether or not this is going to make it or not, and I will probably just go on ahead and start another Roma, so when that Roma comes out of the tomato bed, I'll have something to replace it with. This is sweet basil that I was going to put in the raised bed number 1 over there with the black cherry and the butternut squash, but you see what that's looking like. I will probably go ahead and just do some more of these and just, I don't know. Basil doesn't take that long, so I will probably just start some more, but I wanted to see if they were going to live, kind of like an experiment. I forgot to show my hostas that my father sent me. That's one over here. Just fertilized them yesterday, so hopefully that'll help them out a little bit. And over here, that's the other one. Now, I have the weed barrier down, which I have to put all of these rocks back, but I want to clean them first. And this is the spot where I'm going to put, I believe I'm going to put a marigold in that spot, and then I'm going to plant something else over here. I have a celosia that I'm going to plant in this space. It'll be pretty when it's done. And the last thing over here that I had is my strawberries. Still looking pretty good. As you see, I sprayed neem oil on this one also, and it burnt my leaves. But the plant itself is still doing okay. I am only getting little crappy looking strawberries like that, which I'm just basically throwing away. But I did get one semi decent looking one. And I did have one that I did eat, which was decent. Not very sweet, but it was all right. Anyway, that is my garden tour for June. And I will put updates in the shorts. Everybody have a good weekend.